Okay, hi, hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone. Okay, so before we start our topic, I'd like to greet you good morning. Have a nice day ahead. Okay, if you're watching this in the morning, good afternoon. I hope you had a nice day. And good evening. I hope you will have a good sleep. Okay, so our topic for today is all about genetics. When we say genetics, it has something to do with your heredity or inherited traits. This answers the question why you look like your parents or why you look like your grandparents. Okay, so I hope this is clear. All right, so I have here a presentation. So the question is, what is genetics? So when we say genetics class, this is actually the scientific study of heredity. So everything is in your book. I am just trying to explain things for you to be able to cope up and for you to have a detailed explanation on this. Okay, so when we say genetics, this is the scientific study of heredity. So if you're going to look at the picture here, okay, we have here a family that looks like uh a family that um a children that looks like their parents. Okay, so we have here they belong to the black family and okay, this one has a curly hair and then all of them have tan skin or medyo dark ang skin nila. Right? So what is a trait? So those skin, those hair color, those hairstyle, mga kulot, mga dark skin or tan skin, they are called traits. So what is a trait? A trait is a specific characteristic that varies from one individual to another. So for example, we have brown hair, sorry, blue eyes, tall and curly. So we have those traits. Okay. When we say allele, okay, allele is a form of different possibilities for a given trait. Okay, so we have here your allele A, so these are capital letter A, capital letter B, C, D, E. So these are all alleles. And then we also have the recessive allele, which is what we call the small letter A, small letter B, small letter C, small letter D, and small letter E, wherein our examples of alleles includes capital letter A means they are brown eyes, and then small letter A means they are blue eyes, and then capital letter B includes green eyes, capital letters, a small letter B includes hazel eyes. So every trait has at least two alleles, okay, one from the mother and then one from the father. So we have here eye color, brown, blue, green, or hazel. All right? So genes naman tayo. We usually hear it you have a nice genes, 'di ba? Kapag matangkad ka, sinasabi nila, "Ganda naman ng genes mo." Or kaya kapag, slender yung katawan mo, sana all magandang genes, okey, 'di ba? Gano'n naman usually, eh. So genes are the sequence of DNA that codes for a protein and thus determines a trait. So actually, every trait that we have, they are all encoded in our genes. So genes is the trait or is the sequence of DNA that we get from our parents or from our ancestors. If you can still remember our topic in meiosis. So, 'di ba, sa meiosis, DNA replicates or DNA copies and so on and so forth. And then lahat mabibigyan ng DNA. So, ganyan po dito sa genes natin. So, genes are actually the sequence of DNA that codes for a protein. So, everything in our body is being coded. So everything in our body, the one that makes our facial features, the one that makes the arrangement of our teeth, the one that makes the shape of our eyes, so they are encoded by our genes. We know this person, okay? This is Gregor Mendel. So Gregor Mendel is one of the most important philosopher or important personality that we're going to study when we talk about genetics. So Gregor Mendel actually identified the specific traits in the garden pea. So his experiment was based on a garden pea and studied them from one generation to another. Okay? So ito yung mga conclusion ni Gregor Mendel. Okay, this is a green pea. Okay, so that's the filial, first filial. Ibig sabihin kapag first filial, if we're going to relate it from your grandparents, ang first filial generation ng yung grandparents ninyo are your parents. So parang sila yung unang anak. And then the second filial generation are you. Okay, the daughters and sons of your parents. And then the third filial generation will be your sons and daughters in the future. Okay, so that's what we call the generations, the filial generations. All right. Number one, we have the law of segregation. Okay. Two alleles for each trait separates when gametes form. So parents pass only one allele for each trait to each offspring. So ibig sabihin, if your mother, okay, ganito yung scenario kasi when it comes to family your mother, kamukha niya sa mata yung panganay na kapatid. And then, ikaw naman na pangalawang kapatid, kamukha mo yung nose ng mama mo. Yung pangatlong kapatid, kamukha niya yung hairstyle or yung hair, parang yung hairstyle ng mama mo. Yung pang-apat mong kapatid, kakulay niya. So, kung maputi ang mama mo, maputi din yung pang-apat mong kapatid. Okay? So, segregated. Okay? Segregated po ang genes. Okay, according to Gregor Mendel. Ibig sabihin, hindi lahat makukuha mo. It's not a guarantee that you will get every trait the same from your parents. Okay? So, segregated yan. Okay, we also have here the law of independent assortment. When we say the law of independent assortment, that means genes for different traits are inherited independently of each other. So, independently yan. Okay? Hindi siya nakabase sa kung ano yung dapat na kainin mo, na dapat yung diet mo, and so on and so forth. So, that's your own identity. That's what makes you unique. That's your independent assortment. All right, in this lesson, we will discuss about dominance and recessiveness of traits. When we say dominant, these are the traits that is very much observed in you. So these are the traits that are being expressed. So na-expressed yan. When we say expressed, ibig sabihin, yan yung nakikita ng tao. That's your physical trait. That's what you will show to the world. Okay, so that's your dominant trait. Okay, these are the observable traits. And then when we say recessive, these are the traits that are hidden. Okay, when we say hidden, ibig sabihin, hindi pa yan pwedeng lumabas until the correct generation or the appropriate generation comes. Okay, when we say recessive, okay, let's take this as an example. Yung lolo mo, matangkad. Yung papa mo, matangkad. And then, yung mama mo, matangkad. Alright? And ikaw na anak, okay? Maliit ka. Ibig sabihin, ikaw na anak, hindi ka nagmana sa parents mo. Anong tawag doon? Ampon. Okay, that's a joke. Ibig sabihin, hindi guarantee na kapag matangkad ang parents mo, matangkad ka din. Okay? Hindi rin guarantee na kapag matangkad ang lolo mo, matangkad din ang mga magiging apo niya. Okay? And then you try to look for generations. Diyan mo nun. Then you have to look for your genealogy. And then you found out that the parents of your lolo are also short. Ibig sabihin, the short trait is there. Hindi lang siya dominant. Ibig sabihin, it is hidden. So when it is hidden, it means it is a recessive trait. So when it's not observable, it's a recessive trait. Okay? So I hope you get the idea of dominance and recessiveness of traits. Okay? So when we say dominance, it must the other trait. So must, ibig sabihin, tinatakpan. The trait that shows if present. Okay? So it is represented by capital letter. So R ang ginamit natin dyan because um, ang word natin is recessive. Okay? So when we say a recessive trait, organisms with a recessive allele for a particular trait will only exhibit the trait when the dominant allele is not present. So kung wala naman ang dominant allele, halimbawa, both are small letter R, it means if both are small letter R, that is a recessive trait and will only show if both alleles are present. So represented by a lowercase, okay, letter. Okay, yan, letter, small letter R. Okay, so let's take this as an example and practice as well. So we have here a capital letter T and capital letter T, which represents straight hair. Okay, so my hair is not straight. Okay, we also have here capital letter T, small letter t. Tingnan natin dito, capital letter T and small letter t. So meron pa rin yung isang capital letter T. Ibig sabihin that is still a straight hair. But in their generation, you will expect that someone will be born with curly hair. It's because we have the small letter T here. Okay? And then represents offspring with a curly hair, ibig sabihin the small letter T and then the small letter T. All right. Let's talk about phenotype and genotype before we proceed to doing the Punnett square. Okay, when we say genotype, again, genotype from the word G, okay, genetic makeup. So this must be your mnemonic device. When we say genotype, that's your genetic makeup. Ibig sabihin kapag genetic makeup, it is not observable by people. Okay, it is not considered as a physical characteristics. Right? That's genotype. Ibig sabihin kapag genotype, nakatago yan. Just like in the recessive trait. When we say phenotype, from the word phenotype, physical characteristics of an organism. When we say physical characteristics of an organism, those are the traits that are observed by people. Those are the traits that are expressed by people. Okay, so the way an organism look. So we have here curly hair, straight hair, blue eyes, tall, green, so on and so forth. Okay? So when we say phenotype, ito na yung characteristics. And then when we say genotype, ito na yung parang equation doon sa phenotype natin. So ito na yung capital letter T, small letter T, small letter S, and so on and so forth. All right? So I hope it is clear. Okay. So we also have here the homozygous and then the heterozygous. When we say homozygous, these are the alleles that are identical. So kapag capital letter R silang dalawa, capital letter R, homozygous. Okay, homozygous dominant siya. Okay? When we say capital letter R silang dalawa or capital letter kahit anong letter yan, kahit capital letter A, kahit capital letter B, kahit capital letter C, and so on and so forth, as long as they are both capital letter, that is a dominant homozygous. Kaya homozygous dominant. Okay? When we say small letter R, that is homozygous recessive. Kaya recessive homozygous. Okay? Basta parehang maliit na letter, that's homozygous recessive. We also have this term heterozygous. When we say heterozygous, that means isang malaki, isang maliit. From the word homo, di ba homogeneous, uniform, mixture siya. When we say heterogeneous, these are the mixture that forms layer. Okay? So the same idea applies to homozygous and heterozygous. So when we say homozygous, identical alleles. And then when we say heterozygous, that means they have the different, okay, they have two different alleles. So ano yung two different alleles natin? We have your capital letter R and then your small letter r. Okay, now we go to Punnett square. When we say Punnett square, this is actually a tool we use for combining genes and also a tool for us to get the probability or the chance. Kung makikita mo na dito, you can predict kung anong magiging itsura ng mga magiging anak mo or anong magiging itsura ng mga magiging anak ng hayop ninyo. Anong magiging itsura ng mga magiging bunga ng halaman ninyo. Okay? So we can predict. The word there is predict by computing the probability or the chance in the given event that will occur. So we get to calculate the probability of inheriting a particular trait. Okay, so for example, we need to cross capital letter A and capital letter and small letter A and then capital letter A and small letter A. So what we do here is we use the grid. Okay, the grid method. Take note that you learned it also in math and in the previous topics in science, wherein we use grids for us to multiply objects or for us to multiply values. Okay, so we have here capital letter A multiplied with capital letter A. That will be written as A. Okay, we also have here capital letter A multiplied with small letter a, that should be written as your capital letter A, small letter a. Okay, the same goes here, capital letter A, small letter a, and then small letter a, small letter a. So based from this, findings, ibig sabihin, we have, okay, ilan to? Is it 1/2, 1/4? Okay, take note that this is 100%. When we say probability, that's 100%. And apat ang grid niya. Ibig sabihin kapag apat ang grid niya, that should be divided into 4. Okay, so 100% divided by 4, those are 25%. So we have here 25% homozygous dominant. We have here 25% heterozygous, and then another 50% heterozygous rather, and then another 25% homozygous recessive. So that should be your findings. Okay, let's continue. Right? So ito na yung magiging offspring niya. These are the parents, and this is the offspring. So, ganyan din siya. How to compute for a Punnett square, ganyan lang. So, x, y, wait, makikita mo na dito. Ang maganda dito, mapapag-aralan mo din kung ilan ang babaeng magiging kapatid mo, kung ilan ang lalaki magiging kapatid mo, kung apat kayong magkakapatid. Okay. Dito, usually we tend to do this. Alright? So, dito tayo. Diba sinabi ko noon sa previous topic natin, your father can determine your organ. So, the last chromosome will be given by your father. Okay, so ito yung chromosome ng mama ninyo. That's X, and this is the chromosome of your father. So, kunwari, XY, kasi lalaki si papa ninyo, di ba? Alright, so if we're going to cross this, so XX, XY, XY, XX, and then we also have your XY. Ibig sabihin, kapag XXXX na yan, ibig sabihin 50% Okay, 50% babae. And then the probability 50% babae, 50% lalaki. Okay? 50% babae, 50% lalaki. Ibig sabihin, kung panganay ka na babae, ang susunod sa'yo must probably be a boy. Kung hindi man boy, magiging babae din ang susunod sa'yo. And then, ang susunod sa kapatid mo, lalaki eventually because 50% eh. Hati-hati-hati yan. And then, ang susunod ulit sa magiging kapatid mo ulit, bunso, is a boy also. Alright? So, I hope you get the idea. So, yan, 50%, 50%. Okay, let's go back. All right, so that's your Punnett square. So each parent could give either Y or, okay, so yan. So yellow or white. Ito naman tayo. When we say genotype, this is actually your ratio. Okay, so yung ratio mo, 1:2. Bakit 1:2? Kasi, kung kukunin mo to, yung 1, saan ba nanggaling yung 1? Ito, Y, yung malaki. Okay, iisa lang yan, di ba? That's 25%. So, 1:2. Yung Y, small letter Y, bakit is to 2? Kasi nga, 50% yan. And then Y na maliit, that's 1:2:1. Bakit? This is 25%. Okay. And then in your phenotype, pwede mong ilagay dito na 3 yellow or 75% yellow. Bakit yellow, ma'am? Kasi ang dami-dami naman na, ito isa lang kanina. Okay, look at this. This is a homozygous dominant. And then when we say homozygous dominant, so dominant trait ang masusunod. Tama. Okay? So when we say heterozygous, ibig sabihin, may dominant trait pa rin dito. So the one that is expressed here is your dominant trait. And then, may isang maliit dito, that is your recessive trait. Okay, so homozygous recessive naman ito. Okay, I hope you get the idea. Okay, now let's try it. Okay, so let's try this one. So, ito kunwari ako tapos yung kapatid ko. So, ako daw yung matangkad and then yung kapatid ko yung maliit. Okay, so let's try to do it. Okay, matangkad ako. Ito. Naggango. Okay, dahil, sihan mo to. Nag-agal-alang nila ang video. Ay, awang ka sa taon. Awan. Wala man lang. Alang nila ang video. So, i-post mo, warang. Uwan. Kapay nga ako aaginda. Ay, ang kawan sa ako makita. Ang ka makita mo, hindi ano. Kapay nga ginda. Okay, and my sister is also heterozygous tall. Yan. I joke. Homozygous short. Okay, so my sister is very short. Okay, so let's cross this one. We have T, big letter T, and then small letter t. And then big letter T, small letter t, and then another big letter T, small letter t, and then another big letter T, small letter t. So if we have here big letter T and small letter t, it means kung apat sila, our phenotype would be 100% tall. Okay? So 100% tall. Bakit? Kasi all of the products or all of the offspring is hetero. Okay, sorry. All of the offsprings is hetero. Okay, are heterozygous. So, ibig sabihin, there is still a dominant trait here. Okay, so that's it. Next. So, ito yun na yung Punnett square natin kanina. O, di ba? Tama ko. So, we have here 100%. Our genotype is 4. Okay, 4 small letter T and big letter T. And then the phenotype is 100% tall. Okay? Okay, so let's try this one first. We have here, okay, that's crossed. Big letter T, small letter t, big letter T, small letter t, small letter t, small letter t, then small letter t, small letter t. Okay, so our phenotype, okay, lagay ko na lang dito, I'll just put here P. So our phenotype would mean 50% are, okay, so sabihin natin tall, and then 50% are short. 50% are short. Alright? Bakit? Kasi if we're going to look at the genotype, ibig sabihin, 2:2. Bakit 2:2? If we're going to put it here, the genetic makeup, that's T, big letter T, small letter t, and 2 small letter t, or 2 heterozygous, and then 2 homozygous recessive. Okay, so that's it for our Punnett square. Okay, so let's check your answer. Oh, di ba? Tama. Okay, 50% tall, 50% short. So 2:2, which means 2 for 50% tall, or 2 for 50% heterozygous, and 2 for homozygous recessive. Okay? So, nasabi ko naman na to sa inyo. Original parents, first filial generation, and then second filial generation. So, next meeting, we will discuss the incomplete dominance, the codominance, and the multiple alleles once we go into your mastery of your Punnett square. Okay? So, do you have any questions? If you happen to have questions, please comment them in the comment box below, or you may contact me at dianarose.flora@lorma.edu. Okay, goodbye everyone, and I'll see you again next meeting.